Oh, hi. Oh, you look at that face. Look at that little face. No, not too sure about this, hey? What's happening? Look, say hi. Oh, yeah. Look at that mug. No. I'm Shannon, coming at you from Vancouver. You can find me on Instagram as Shannon Mariah, Twitter as shannonfisher, Rav as shannonfisher, and in the phone book as shannonfisher. Does anyone use phone books anymore? We have a Rav group. I think there's like 9 of us now, and I have asked an introduction question. I think I asked another question. I have never used a Rav group, so I'm new to it too. So no pressure to be there. But if you would like to be there, it would be lovely to have you. And thanks to everyone who has joined. Today's podcast was filmed. Can you hear my dog? Today's podcast was filmed in bits and bobs. Yes, Sloan, I hear you. Because I filmed, and then I went and met her for coffee, and I did some filming while I was downtown, so you're going to see a little bit of downtown-ish Vancouver in the podcast later. And then I filmed a little bit on the way home, and now I am here just to finish up, and I decided to redo my intro. So my hair is going to change, and, you know, you'll be confused, but you're so smart, you'll figure it out really quick. Plus, I just told you, right? So, let's get on with it, shall we? Episode 3, coming at ya. Thank you and welcome to new and returning viewers. I am having so much fun with this. It has become the thing I think about all week long. As I'm knitting, I'm like, ooh, if I get 2 more rows in, I can show them I have 2 more rows. If I get this done, I can show them. So yeah, it's on my mind all week, and I'm thinking of it, and it's bringing me a lot of joy. And as someone who lives with depression and anxiety, I will take those things. I will take them and savor them, because I don't know, sometimes you live in those in-between moments pretty hard when you just can't find joy in anything, even things that are clearly full of joy. So yeah, I had a rough 2015. And I've made a lot of changes and done a lot of hard work, so I don't believe depression is something that you can cure. I think if you can, then maybe it was situational or something else, but I think the kind that I can is a forever thing, and so all I can do is manage it. And sometimes I do that really well, and other times not so much. And it's tough. It is a tricky disease, because the things that you need to do to manage it take a lot of energy, and living with depression means that you don't have a lot of energy often. So you get caught in this cycle of thinking, I need to help myself. Oh, that will take this amount of steps. Those steps are hard. I can't. Oh, I'm feeling, you know, it's just like, it's crummy. Did I just say shitty? Kids, remember in episode 1 when I said that sometimes there's a place and a time for swearing? Well, that was it. That was a good place. Because depression is shitty. It's just shitty. There's just no other description for it. I mean, there's tons, but that one was pretty apt. So, I don't know about you guys, but I've been swearing around Emma. I was 13. I've been swearing around her since she was little. And I don't teach her that swearing is bad. I teach her that swearing has a time and a place. So that's sort of the philosophy of this podcast. So occasionally I'm probably going to swear. And if that's not your jam, then maybe I'm not your jam. And that's totally cool, and I understand that. Anyways, total side digression on top of a digression. So yes, totally, 100%, absolutely enjoying the shit out of doing this podcast. And so thank you for coming. I mean, I would do it if you were here or not. I would do it if I had 1 viewer, 2, or 0, because it's just so enjoyable. But it's a million billion times more enjoyable because you show up every week. So, and leave comments and follow me on Instagram, and all of that stuff is just extra noodly goodness. So thank you for that. I keep seeing this picture behind me because I just put it there, replaced some hideous orange London book that was there, Towers of London, or not that tower, I don't know what it was, I can't remember. Anyways, I didn't like it, so I stole this picture from Steve's side of the bed that I drew for him based on a picture we took on our honeymoon, which I think I did a pretty good job. He likes it. I like it. Sometimes I'm artsy. So I thought that would be more enjoyable to look at than that orange London book. Okay, so let's see. What do we got going on here? Finished objects. 0. Big fat 0. Nothing. I did not finish anything. So, which takes me into whips, because I'm still working on these, and here I want to swear again, but I won't. I'm still working on, oh, hey. Oh, Cecily. Cecily, who I'm about to meet, is, are we still on for today? I should probably tell her yes. Yes, I just told her yes. So these socks, that's probably going to ding again because she's going to respond. These socks, which, did I show them in episode 1 or 2? I can't remember. Anyways, I looked for a pair, or I looked for worsted yarn to make worsted socks, because you know why? Because I thought those suckers are going to be fast to knit up. Those will be so fast, they'll be done in a day. Well, let me tell ya. So these are the originals, and they were just too skinny mini on my feet. They stretched to the point of, like, they just looked like that, and I didn't like them. So instead of frogging them, I'm frogging them as I go. I'm knitting from them. So what happened was, I got that all arranged, recast on, decided to, so these were originally 16 stitches on each needle, so 32 around, too small. And I like measured my gauge, measured my foot, decided that I actually need 48 stitches in total on the whole sock. So increased up to 24 when I recast on. Way too big. Math is not my forte, clearly. So then I really did not want to recast on. So I ripped them back to where I had increased to 20 stitches. So now they are 40 stitches around, 20 stitches on each needle. And this is where I've gotten to. So I'm actually just at the gusset, and then I will do my beloved FLEEGLE heel, which you should try if you haven't, because it is the loveliest. And I actually just got the pattern for the Climb socks by Jane Richmon. Is Shannon involved in those two? Anyways, I think it's Jane and Shannon from their book, which I can't remember the name of. And I looked, and she doesn't say it in the pattern, but the heel that she does is pretty much the FLEEGLE heel. It's the same thing. But this time, last time I did not, as you can see here, so I still have the heel on the old ones. I didn't add the slip stitch heel for added durability, and I think I'm going to these ones because we hike a lot, and I can totally see me wearing these with my hikers. So just having that slip stitch heel for a little bit of extra oomph. My needles keep hitting the desk, sorry. All the podcasters apologize when they make noise, and I never understood why, and then someone said headphones. They'll be really loud if you're wearing headphones, so sorry. It's a good old Canadian sorry. Okay, what's next? So the other thing I have cast on, well, I guess this is kind of a finished object in that there's 2 of them finished. I started my Cozy Memories blanket, which so far so good. They're both knit with the same size needle, but clearly this yarn is a little more cushy mushy. I actually didn't make a pair of socks out of this. This is madelinetosh. Is it Tosh sock? I'm not sure, I can't remember. Anyways, I made a sock head hat out of this. And these were my very first pair of socks. So yeah, the madelinetosh one is way bigger and cushier, but I still love how it's turning out. So I don't know, it could be a blanket for a Barbie right now. So it's technically an FO in progress. Yeah, so that's really fun. And then I cast on for another pair of socks, which I think I'm going to frog. This is the, I think it's the, wow, words are hard. KnitPicks Stroll painted, Hawthorne painted. I will put it up on the screen. I can't remember what it is. I love that it has white in it. So the reason I think I'm going to frog them is because I remembered that I bought this, which I think I showed last week when I went to Valley Yarn with my mother-in-law, so that I could do contrasting toes, heels and toes. And so yeah, I got this far and went, oh, I could have contrasted these, especially because it has white in here, and that would have looked really cute. So I'm really not that far along. I think I will frog back and do that. So those are cute. I like how those are turning out. It's just cute, variegated. It's not striping, but and then I'm going to save the best for last. So I actually dug up my very first custom fit sweater that I started, and I dug up the PDF of the pattern. That's what you call it, the pattern. The problem is remembering where I left off. I'm pretty sure this is just the start of the back of it. And that I'm just knitting with KnitPicks Bravo Worsted, which is acrylic. Gasp. So I may lose some viewers over that. So it's premium, but it's premium acrylic, you guys. It's not just acrylic, it's premium acrylic. So it's worsted, but it's so soft and squishy. So I think it's gonna make a really nice sweater. And honestly, with my sweater skills, well, I guess I don't know much about my sweater skills. I've only made one sweater. I feel like maybe acrylic is the way to go. So yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out where I was at. I think I was doing some decreases or increases for the shaping. But yeah, I started that back in May, maybe? Long time ago. Tassia, hi Tassia if you're watching, who is who actually some of you sewers might know. She's big in Sewland. She has her own, she wrote a book. She has this great website, Sewaholic. No, I will put that on the screen as well. She's part of my knitting group, and she's always knitting the most beautiful sweaters, and she got wind of Custom Fit, and now that's pretty much all she makes. So yeah, just watching her work, and I thought, ooh, I should try that. So then, oh yeah, saving the best for last. So this, I mentioned in episode 1 that I had eons ago, when Emma was like 1 or 2, so she's 13 now, I had started one of my very first bigger projects was a dress for a toddler who is actually my niece. I had planned to knit this for my niece Kate, who Kate is 11 or 12 now, so this definitely wouldn't fit her. But I finished either the back or the front completely. It's cute with, so it's been all squished up in my, you can't see the shaping, but so yeah, it's this cute little dress, just like sleeveless summer dress. And then look at how far I got on the front. I mean, you guys, this thing is practically done. And I just quit because I was bored. And when I was visiting Cindy in Alberta, in Macomb, my friend who taught me how to knit, I told her, I said, I might finish that this year. And she said, you are probably such a different knitter now that it may not turn out, but I might give it a shot anyways. A little flower on the front, which I think you were supposed to do, or I was supposed to do, would that be called? I was supposed to knit it as I knit, but Cindy told me she could, at the time, 13 years ago or 12 years ago, told me she could teach me how to do it after the fact. So we'll see if I even add that little flower. I mean, if I get it done, it will be a miracle, you guys. So there's that work in progress of 12 years. And then the most exciting one is my shawl. So I recast on, and I'm using the new colors. I talked about this last week, and I think I had worked up to about here with the orange, which I was using instead of this light Vancouver gray. The colorway is called, by Ocean Parks Yarn, who is a local indie yarn dyer, I believe. So yeah, when I showed you, oh, that's the wrong side. When I showed you last time, I had worked up to this first red part. So I frogged that completely, restarted with the new colors, and this is where I am at with that. And I think it's going to be lovely. Yes, I'm very excited about it. So yeah, I think those are colors that I know I love it. I do love it. And I said if I was going to do all that work, I wanted to absolutely love it. So this will be my first shawl, and it will definitely be for me. So yeah, those are my works in progress. Oh, I was going to say about socks. Chelsea and her mom, Sue, were saying on their last podcast that in some ways it's super crazy that we even make socks because no one's ever going to see them. Which I totally agree with. That's one of the things that I said to the lady in my knit group who is always making socks. How do you, because you know, you just, when you make a thing, you want to wear it and you want people to be like, ooh, I love your shawl, and you can be like, ooh, I made it. That's part of the fun of it, right? Well, here's how I do that. Last time I had my socks on, I went and I was visiting my friend Lily, and I showed up her house and I took my shoes off, and as soon as I took them off, I looked at my feet and I said, yes, I did make my socks, thank you for asking. And then I was just at improv this past Tuesday and I wore a pair of my socks, and I think I somehow worked mentioning that I had knit them into my scene because I had my pants rolled up. And so you could see my socks. So you just gotta point that stuff out, you guys. You just gotta get more clever about saying, you know, I don't know, maybe next time you're at Starbucks and you go to take your coffee off the counter, take it off with your foot. Like, flash that stuff around. You're wearing socks that you made? Point that out. I'm probably going to talk about 2 Shan things when I get back, because right now I have to go get on the Sky Train. Oh man, it's cold out there and wet, you guys. Hi guys. I'm down at False Creek in the Olympic Village. Look, there's a little what do you call it? Little tugboat that you can pay to ride from Granville Island to Science World. Steve and Emma have written it, but I haven't. So this is Olympic Village behind me, where I just had coffee with my friend Cecily right there at Terra Breads. And there, ooh, are you getting dizzy? Here is Rogers Arena, where, you know, people play sports and have concerts. And then that is downtown area. That is downtown area, right there. This is called False Creek. And it's raining and cold. Yeah, so we can decide if I'm gonna take a car to go back or hop on the SkyTrain. It was raining pretty hard when I came down here, so I was in a car to go, but it's not too bad now, so maybe I'll hop on the train because it's just a tiny bit cheaper. Steve and I almost bought a place down here when we were looking. I think we even signed all the papers, and then we found out the strata fees were like $700 a month, which is another mortgage payment. So that's a bit ridiculous, and we didn't want to be house poor. Oh, and I wanted to show you that I'm wearing my sock head toque that you saw in my blanket. I thought someone was coming beside me and was gonna think I was crazy. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to show you False Creek, the Olympic Village, and Science World. That is Science World. Okay, see you back at my place to finish off the podcast. Rowing, science worlding, sky training. Walking. Still walking. And home. And we're back. And as you can see, I've changed my hair again because it was wet and cold outside and got all sweaty and gross. So I just got back from chilling with my friend Cecily downtown, and that was lovely. I hope you enjoyed my little mini tour of parts of Vancouver, and at the end my backyard. So where were we? Let's see. I believe, we're on to Shan things. But before we move on to Shan things, I actually oh, actually, I think what's next is podcasts I've been enjoying. So before we get to podcasts I've been enjoying, I wanted to talk a little more about these socks because I sort of rushed through that. The thing that I wanted to tell you is that even though I've frogged them twice now, they have actually brought me a lot of joy. And I didn't realize that until I was talking to my daughter Emma, who at the end of every day when I'm tucking her in, if I remember, which is most of the time, I ask her to inside out her day for me. So, which means she goes through the characters of Inside Out and she tells me a moment from her day where she was happy, sad, afraid, and then sometimes she asks me, and I also share, my dog is out there freaking out. Maybe I will deal with her before carrying on. 1 second. As I was saying, I realized when Emma and I were doing inside outing her day, I inside outed my day, and Emma said to me, I'm glad you're enjoying your YouTube channel so much, Mom. And I said, I really am. And you know what else is bringing me joy? The fact that I'm realizing how much I know and have learned about knitting and will continue to learn, because there is an endless amount of things to know about knitting. And I'm optimistic that in a year's time, I'll know a lot more than I do right in this very moment. Because as I was... so when I ripped these out and I put them back on the needles at 20 stitches, I realized that I totally knew what I was doing. I wasn't worried about getting them on the stitches twisted, because I knew what to do as soon as that happened. I just needed to get them on the needles. And then when I came to a stitch that was twisted, I knew I just needed to knit into the back. Whereas before I would have probably, first of all, I would have stressed about getting them on the right way. And then if they weren't on the right way, I would have like taken it off, twisted it around, put it back on. I wouldn't have just known to knit into the back of the stitch, and that would right the wrong. And then, you know, I just kept knitting and I was like, look at these. They're like that. What I just did actually worked. And here I thought I was a corner cutting knitter, which I sort of did cut corners. I mean, I didn't rip all the way back. I didn't recast on, but to me that shows a lot of growth, and it surprised me about myself, because even 3 weeks ago when I told you that I'm the kind of knitter who does not frog things, who does not fix mistakes, clearly I was wrong about myself. So it was cool. It was cool to have that moment where the dog was chewing the bone so loud. It was cool to realize that I'm actually a lot more savvy and wily than I even knew as a knitter. So yeah, that was great. And I don't know if I showed you the change, but here are the old socks and here's the new ones. So as you can see, they're quite a bit wider, and I have tried them on and they fit nicely now. They're like maybe they could have been 2 stitches smaller or something, but I think they're gonna be nice cozy socks. And I mean, I better freaking love these things for the amount of time I've put into them, thinking that they were going to just be whipped up in a flash. Pause again. Hello. So the next thing on my list is podcasts I have been loving this week. Not just this week, but podcasts I've been loving. So there's 3 today. And the first 2, I have chosen them specifically because they're Alberta. They're Alberta women. And Alberta has my heart, as I told you in 1 or 2 episodes ago. So the first one I'm going to mention is the Fawn Knits with Lara. And I believe these two women are in the same area of Alberta, which is very close to where I used to live, Lacombe. And one of them used to live in Lacombe. So I'm interested to have a conversation. Whew, doing that out of breath thing again. Why? Why does talking get me so out of breath? I am interested in having more of a conversation with Lara from the Fawn Knits because I'm guessing we know some of the same people. I think she's like roughly 800 years younger than I am, but still. So yeah, the Fawn Knits, she knits, and she dyes her own yarn. Her husband has gotten into it as well, so that's really fun. And he cameoed in one of her recent episodes, and she makes beautiful project bags, which is on my wish list someday. And yeah, she's just really lovely. Lara, I haven't told you this. If you're watching, maybe you're not watching. But I screen capped a couple episodes ago of your hair. Actually, I think it's quite a few episodes ago. You have this really cute, sharp, choppy hairdo. What starts with a B, bob. And I'm growing out my hair from a pixie, and I haven't had it cut since August, so I'm getting it cut next month. Finally, adding a little shape to it, and I love the way your hair looks in it. So I screen capped it to take to my hairstylist, Marla, whom I adore. So yeah, the Fawn Knits, check her out. And then the second one is Jenny from the Lone Larch Designs podcast. And she also makes wonderful, beautiful project bags that are also on my wish list for someday. So, and yeah, she knits, and I don't think she dyes her own yarn, but she has a pretty similar approach to knitting that I do, in that she just knows herself and she knows her, not her limits, but maybe the limits her personality brings to knitting. So I think that's really cool that she's just not trying to do everything. She's like, I know that's a thing I will never wear, or that's a thing I will not enjoy, and so I am not going to be sucked in by that. Which is cool. I like people who know themselves well. I mean, I actually really love everybody. If you don't know yourself well, it's okay. I don't really know myself that well, and you're still very lovable. So yeah, check Jenny out. And actually, this is where I'm going to do a bit of a plug for Knit City, which is hosted here in the fall every year at the P&E. So Knit City is put on by two women who I think their business is called Knit Social. And I was reading about them the other day, and they used to be neighbors and realized that they had knitting in common, and so they brought Knit City to Vancouver. And I'm not sure how many years it's been running, but I have been in Vancouver for 4.5 years now, and I've managed to miss it every single year. So this year I am hell-bent on going, because P&E is literally 10 minutes drive that way for me. And the first year first 2 years I didn't even know about it, and then the next year I joined my knitters club, and they all had just gone, I think, and had really fun yarns and little bits and bobs from it. And then we were traveling, so it just has never worked out for me. But this year I think it's on October 1st and 2nd, and it would be amazing if I believe for sure Jenny from Lone Larch Designs is coming, and so hopefully we'll meet up, and then hopefully she brings Lara. And I challenge all you American podcasters and viewers to get your butts here. Start saving your pennies and get your butts here for Knit City. Look it up, check it out, make some plans, grab a friend, grab some yarn and come. Because October's, well, it's a pretty nice time to be in Vancouver, and everyone I meet who finds out that I'm from Vancouver, one of the very first things they say to me is, oh, I have always meant to go there. Well, knitters, it is time. October is your time to come. So wouldn't it be fun if you all came and we all hung out and we did knitterly things and we met and we took this relationship to the next level. So, what do you say? See you in October? Yeah. I think so. Who does that? I never do that. I've never done that before in my life. Don't ever do that again, Shannon. Okay, and so Knit City. That's my little plug for Knit City, which is funny. I know I've never been there and I'm plugging it, but I have no doubt in my little heart that it is going to be amazing. So then the last podcast that I would like to talk about is by a lovely young lady named Emma Fisher, who happens to be my blood relative. She's my daughter, and she saw me making my first podcast and got inspired to make her very own. And she is an artist, and she is a pretty fantastic artist. She's done mostly digital edits and drawings, and does a lot of pencil and paper work. But most recently, she has begun to animate. And that came about when she created her YouTube channel. At first, she made an opening for her channel where she drew a self-portrait, and she had these little pulsating hearts around her self-portrait. And it took me a couple times to watch before I realized that the eyes blink, and I think her mouth changes. So I was like amazed by the pulsating hearts. And then she's like, but Mom, I also blinked. Did you see that? And I was like, play it again. So then she made a intro for her videos. And she animated the entire 30 seconds of her talking. It's, again, the self-portrait. And she has a little spiel, and she talks, and she animated her talking head, and it is fan-freaking-tastic. And so that is Locking in the Lines, which I think is a great name. I actually helped her name it, but we named it by, I had her talk to me about the process of drawing and what she knows about it and what she loves about it. And she talked about doing sketches and how when you do a rough sketch, when you have lines in your rough sketch that you're happy with, you go over those lines darker so that they are the ones that stand out, and that process is called Locking in the Lines. And I was like, there's your name. Fantastic. So if you have kids or nieces and nephews, or kids that you babysit, spread the word, because I think she's going to do really great things with that channel. And if every one of my viewers, who I have like little over 100 subscribers now, if every one of you watched it and liked her video, at least one of her videos, and told someone about it and they subscribed, you would make her day. So that would be really cool if you did that. So give Emma a watch. And yeah, do I have anything else? Oh, my 2 Shan things. Well, this is going to be a long podcast. 2 Shan things. Shan thing number 1 is that I'm a former makeup junkie, which is interesting because I actually didn't wear any makeup until I was 32. I wore it a little bit in high school, but then I stopped when I was in Bible school. Not for Bible reasons. Just simply because I looked at myself in the mirror one day without makeup, and I felt like I didn't look very nice, and I thought, I don't want to think this about myself, so I'm going to stop wearing makeup until I can sort of see myself. And so that lasted like 14 years. I just didn't ever bother. I wore lipstick, but that was it. And then I was on a stress leave for work to do with my depression. And suddenly, I don't know, I was Googling something about organization for your desk or something, and a makeup video came up for organizing your makeup. And I was like, oh. And so then like I just super got into makeup videos, and suddenly I had my own makeup collection and I was wearing makeup, and my husband Steve, who had been married to me since I was 21 and I was now 33, he's like, oh, so this is the thing you do now. It's so weird to see you with makeup. But I was just having so much fun with it because I would like wake up every morning. It just felt like I was doing art on my face. And then because I am the kind of person who, well, I started this channel because I saw other people doing it and I was like, that's a thing I could do. And so I started my own makeup channel, and it was called Shimmer Shan. I have some pretty gnarly, silly, boring, I don't know. I don't have very many videos because I never really got into the applying it on camera thing. I was just too, my hands shake a little, and I just felt like a bit of an imposter. Like, who am I to show you how to put on makeup? So that kind of petered out, but it's funny that every once in a while I remember that those exist. My husband Steve was just at leading a conference or a workshop in Texas this past week, so he was away, and so it was a brand new client, and he left the room and he came back, and the two male clients were watching my SOXCETERA video. They had Googled me and found SOXCETERA. So Steve came into the room, he's like, why do I hear Shannon's voice? I'm like, of all the places I am on the internet, why SOXCETERA? Why is that the thing that came up and the thing they chose to look at? Like, I've got some really fantastic writing on the web and, you know, makeup videos they could have watched, but I guess knitting is the thing, guys. So that's one thing. The second thing is that I am taking an improv class right now. I'm almost halfway through. There's 8 weeks of it, and this next Tuesday night will be week 4. And it's interesting because improv is really about getting out of your head, and getting out of your own head has been a theme for me this past year. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I had a really rough go of it this year with my depression. And I had something pretty scary happen back in May, which you could read about if you Googled Shannon the pastry box. There's an entry called, I'm glad you didn't jump, Shannon. So yeah, it's pretty heavy content, but you could find that. So I had a pretty heavy year, and so this year for me has big time been learning to get out of my own head, and without meaning to, it's been a theme with, I started meditating with the app Headspace, which is amazing if you haven't tried it and you've wanted to do meditation before but just haven't been able to really get into it. Headspace I highly, highly recommend. It absolutely, hands down, changed my life, changed the way I deal with my anxiety, changed my relationship with my internal dialogue. So Headspace is a great place to start. And then I took a fiction writing course and with Selecky, and it's called Story Intensive. I'll put that on the screen. But she talks a lot about getting out of your own head in order to just get out of your own way, get out of your head in order to just write. And now with improv, there's a big theme in getting out of your head, because you're on stage and you're having to be in the moment so that you can respond to the people you're on stage with. And I had a moment last week where I completely froze on stage, and it's great because there's this group of 12 of us all learning. It's intro 1. So it just doesn't really matter. There was no audience, but I still felt really vulnerable because I just completely locked right up. My 2 scene partners were bantering, and the scene was a little bit, it was like dragging itself along, and they needed help. And all I could think was, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know how I should move my body right now. I am not helping. This feels awkward and strained. And luckily, shortly after that, the scene ended. But later, when we were talking, my instructor is Ryan Beil. If you Google him, you'll find, I don't know if you remember the A&W commercials with the guy who sucked the helium balloon. That's Ryan Beil. If you watch iZombie, which is filmed in Vancouver, everything is filmed in Vancouver. When I think Liz went to a sketch artist, a face sketch artist at the police station, that's Ryan Beil. Anyways, he's fantastic. And so I just said to him, how do you get out of your own head? And I explained what happened to me on stage, and he kind of said, that's the eternal question. It kind of never goes away. Part of getting good at improv is just realizing that doing improv, the struggle is part of it, and you need to embrace that. So, I don't know, I think that's a pretty good philosophy for life. And getting out of my own head kind of means not fighting the fact that I have these really dark, negative, self-depreciative, really heavy voices at times. Not trying to squash them or push them away, but saying, I see you, but I'm still gonna do my thing. So yeah, improv, writing, meditating, it's all had this theme of getting out of my head. So I'm really excited to be in improv. I really did not want to go last week, and it turned out to be a very hard week, but I'm super glad I went, and I'm very much enjoying it, and I could see myself going on to do intro 2 and 3, and I don't know, just pursuing it, because I really enjoy it. It's teaching me a lot about myself and just being a more open, present human, which I really love. So yeah, I think those are all the things I have to share with you today. I'm super glad if you stayed this long and listened to me talk about those knitting unrelated things. I'm grateful for you and for this time we get to share together. So I will see you next week. Big love and squishy hugs.